This is the National News Telecast. I'm Movin Hettiarchi.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Zahir and we take a look at the headlines first.
Inflation reduced by half within 8 months. Steps taken to deposit welfare benefits directly into recipients' bank accounts from July. Government says a positive development can be expected in the debt restructuring process by September. President Ranil Wickremesinghe invited to the 28th UN World Climate Action Summit. A financial fraud in the guise of student visa, 400 conned. Distribution of kerosene received from China among fishermen begins. 19 students killed in a fire at a school in Guyana.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. International Monetary Fund says that the macroeconomic situation in Sri Lanka is showing signs of improvement following strong policy efforts. Issuing a statement at the conclusion of the recent visit to Sri Lanka, the IMF mission has indicated that the overall macroeconomic and policy environment remains challenging. An IMF mission led by Senior Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, Peter Brewer, and Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, Masahiro Nozaki, conducted a staff visit to Colombo from May 11th to 23rd, 2023. The IMF team visited Sri Lanka to discuss recent economic developments and implementation of the fund-supported program. The team met with President Wickremesinghe, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, Secretary to the Treasury Siriwardana, and senior government officials. They also met with members of the opposition parties, civil society actors, think tanks, trade unions, the private sector and development partners during the visit. In the statement, the IMF team has said that the macroeconomic situation in Sri Lanka is showing tentative signs of improvement, with inflation moderating, the exchange rate stabilizing and the central bank rebuilding reserves buffers. The IMF mission said that they welcomed the authorities' ongoing efforts in meeting key commitments under the fund-supported program. Performance under the program will be formally addressed in the context of the first review of the extended fund facility arrangement, which is expected to be undertaken in September 2023, according to the statement. They said that discussions were also held on the progress on debt restructuring, noting the ongoing discussions with both foreign and domestic creditors. Achieving timely restructuring agreements with creditors in line with the program targets by the time of the first review is essential to restoring debt sustainability. In the statement, the IMF team has emphasized on keeping up the reform momentum and ensuring timely implementation of program commitments, including ensuring central bank independence, improving governance and protecting the vulnerable, which are key for Sri Lanka to emerge from the economic crisis. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that the headline inflation has declined more than half of the rate recorded in September last year.
The headline inflation in September last year was recorded at 73.5%. By April this year, the rate has improved to 33.6%. State Minister Siambalapitiya, speaking at the Parliament today, said that the government will take steps to further reduce the inflation with depreciation of the dollar. The country's highest ever headline inflation was recorded during last year. The inflation rate remained at a level of 73.7% by last September last year, and the new report issued by the Department of Census and Statistics has indicated that the inflation has reduced to 33.6% April this year. The food inflation, which remained at higher rate of 85.8% last September, has now come down to 27.1% in April. The minister said the highest inflation rate the country has ever recorded last year, marking 73.7% by September. He added that the reports mentioned the rate has been decreased to 33.6% this April. He also said that the fact should be taken into attention for the Assembly as a systematic solution for the huge problem which resulted in a changing of government. He added that they should forward the Assembly to the fact that Sri Lanka is now in an upright situation, where in earlier was the 5th place among the highest inflation countries in the world. He also said that the government is working on further bringing down inflation rate, adding that the US dollar has come down from 300 rupees from 360 rupees. He said that 18 to 20% of the decrement should be given to public, much more than this. He added that the government eased off the trade and tariff policy of the Ministry of Finance along with the Consumer Affairs Authority, and the Minister of Trade have been informed to submit a report within 2 weeks to find out whether school essentials, building materials, food and medicine have been decreased according to the exchange rate decrement.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, speaking in the Parliament today, said that the state will sponsor for the Poson Festival taking place centering Mihinthalaya and Anuradhapura. He made these remarks responding to a query raised from the opposition. Meanwhile, the attention of the Parliament was also directed on the construction of the Central Expressway. Parliamentarian Ajith Manamperuma said that the Kadawatha to Mirigama and Mirigama to Kurunagala sections in the Central Expressway have been damaged. He said that the initial plans for the expressway were initiated during the Mahinda Rajapaksa presidential tenure in 2014. He said that even though the Mirigama to Kurunagala section has been completed, the section from Kadawatha to Mirigama is currently underway at a slower rate. He added that the Kurunagala to Kandy section has not been initiated either. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the relevant contract has been given to MCC company and China Exim Bank provides necessary loans for the company. However, he said that the necessary funds will not be issued until the completion of the debt restructuring process. He said that the contractor has already invested more than $150 million for the project. The minister said that the governments have continued to supplement their capital expenditure even through foreign loans. Therefore, he said that until the debt restructuring is completed, the bank will not issue the required funds. Parliamentarian Chandrajaya Sumana said that one of the main national events in the Poson Festival, he said that the festival has taken place in Mihinthalaya for many years continuously. However, he said that the chief incumbent of the temple informed them that the government has failed to allocate sufficient funds to conduct the festival. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that the government has to intervene to conduct the Mihinthalaya Perihara in a successful manner. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that many ministries have carried out preliminary discussions and taken steps to organize not only the Mihinthalaya Poson Festival but also the Poson Festival from Mihinthalaya to Anuradhapura in a grander manner. He said that the relevant financial provisions will be allocated through these institutions.
Minister Tiran Allah says 16 suspects, including an officer attached to the Immigration and Immigration Department, have been taken into custody for allegedly being involved in a racket to extort money to make reservation for the submission of passport applications. The minister said that the relevant system to make reservations was concluded from last week. Heavy congestion was occurred near the head office of the Immigration and Immigration Department near Bathmurula due to a large gathering of passport applications on a daily basis. The minister said the solution will be extended to mitigate the difficulties faced by the public due to the issue by mid-June. Meanwhile, Immigration and Immigration Controller General Harsha Ilukpatia says that close to 2,000 passports are being issued for applications submitted without any prior reservations. Minister Tiran Allah said that the passport centres will be established in 50 divisional secretariats by next month. Accordingly, he said that the public can reach out to these centres to obtain the passports after submitting an application online. He said that the systems are currently being tested, and he said that the passports will be delivered to applications within the 3 days following the completion of the process.
Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva says that the East Container Terminal of Sri Lanka Ports Authority will be operational before the end of this year upon completion. The construction of the underwater reef dam under the Phase 2 of the East Container Terminal was commenced yesterday. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva engaged in an observational tour to look into the construction activities. Under the Phase 1 of the container terminal, the construction of 600 metres of terminal has been completed. Under Phase 2, an additional 720 metres will be added to the terminal. Accordingly, the total length of the terminal will be at 1,320 metres upon completion. The draft of the initial 700-metre section will be 18 meters, while the remaining portion will have a draft of 20 meters. The terminal will occupy a total land area of 57 hectares and will feature a fully automated operation system. The project has a total investment value of $230 million and funded through the Sri Lanka Ports Authority's capital investment. The terminal will add a capacity of 3 million TEUs.
Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandhu Gunawardena says that he believes that a positive development could be achieved over the debt restructuring process by the month of September. He made these remarks during a media briefing today in Colombo to announce the cabinet decisions. Minister Gunawardena said that they are in a national crisis if not being able to settle the debt. He also said that 10-year sovereign bonds issued by January 2015 of $650 million is rematured on January 2025. He added that they have to pay off $1,500 million by October 2025 and said that they only gained $1,400 million within the Hambantota port and it is not sufficient to cover up this debt. He said the debt payable in the next 6 years follows $1,500 on March 2024. $650 on January 2025 and $1,500 on October 2025, $1,000 on June 2026 and $1,500 on May 2027, $2,500 on April 2028, $1,400 on March 2029 and $1,500 on June 2029. These are all in millions, I believe. And he said this state of debt crisis. He also added that the president is seeking assistance to overcome this situation by visiting Japan and having discussions with international foreign financial ministries. He said that upon successful result of the financial actions, president and the government believe that they will be able to fulfill the restructuring program by September. Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to appoint a committee under the chairmanship of former Deputy Secretary to the Treasury Daya Lianage to establish a national development committee to evaluate the development of projects.
The relevant proposal was presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Presenting the budget for the year 2023, the President, in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, tabled a proposal for the formation of a National Development Committee for the evaluation process of new government projects. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to appoint a committee to provide recommendations to the Cabinet regarding the projects with an estimated cost or more than the estimated cost submitted to the recommendation of the Cabinet-appointed procurement committees. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by the President in his capacity as Minister of Investment Promotions to grant exemptions and incentives for business designated as businesses of strategic value under the provisions of the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act No. 11 of 2021. Cabinet approval has been given on the 31st of October last year to amend the Ayurveda Act No. 31 of 1961 to meet the sustainable development goals and meet the current needs. The bill, prepared accordingly by the legal draftsman, has received the Attorney General's clearance. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal presented by Minister Kehelia Ramukwala to publish the said bill in the Government Gazette and to table in the Parliament consequently. The Cabinet Ministers approved the proposal presented by Minister Nazir Ahmed to sign a cooperation agreement between the Sri Lanka and Singapore for carbon reduction within the framework mentioned in the Paris Agreement. President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan of the United Arab Emirates has extended an invitation to President Ranil Wickremesinghe to participate in the 28th UN World Climate Action Summit.
The summit will mark the launch of the 28th session of the Conference of the Parties to the UN Framework Convention of the Climate Change in the Expo City in Dubai from November 30th. The invitation letter sent by the President of the United Arab Emirates was officially handed over to President Wickremesinghe yesterday by the Ambassador of United Arab Emirates to Sri Lanka, Khalid Nasser Al Meri. The Emirates Climate Conference serves as a prominent international platform for climate dialogues and plays a vital role in steering climate negotiations among UNFCCC member parties. The conference aims to foster equal opportunities for all stakeholders to engage in transformative partnerships and contribute to the groundbreaking equitable solutions. It will emphasize the importance of countries uniting to address the impact of climate change while promoting sustainable economic and social development worldwide. President Al Nahyan expressed his deep honor and pleasure in extending this invitation to President Wickremesinghe, emphasizing that the UAE's commitment to tackling climate change and welcoming President Wickremesinghe to United Arab Emirates. This invitation was not only discourses of the UAE's dedication to climate action, but also highlights the significance of international cooperation and participation in addressing pressing challenges of climate change.
Political parties have been given the opportunity to submit their proposals to the Delimitation Commission. Accordingly, Chairman of the Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, said that 7 political parties have submitted their proposals to the Commission. Secretaries of United People's Alliance and Sri Lanka Freedom Party were present for the discussions held this evening. The relevant proposals are expected to be handed over to the subject minister on the 31st. Chairman of the Delimitation Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, said that only the presidential and parliamentary elections are scheduled to be held in every 5 years, which also can be changed by the parliament. He further added not a single provincial council election was held for the last 5 years since October 2017.
The police have taken 2 suspects who had allegedly committed fraud by claiming to provide student visa to Canada to custody today. Reports have indicated that 400 people have been conned by their racket. Suspects have allegedly charged 1.5 million rupees from the victims by claiming that the student's visa will be granted for Canada. This financial fraud has been carried out through a company named Global Private Limited, which was maintained at the 6th level of the World Trade Center. Many doctors, police officers, university lecturers and high-ranking officials in various sectors have been deceived through this financial racket. The suspects were taken into custody by Thalangama police and handed over to the Fraud Investigation Unit of the Colombo for further investigations.
The complaint filed against former Minister Mervyn Silva for his alleged unruly behavior after storming into Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation was taken up for hearing today. The case was taken up before the Colombo Magistrates Court. The case has been filed against then Labour Minister Mervyn Silva for engaging in an unruly manner after storming into Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation 16 years ago. The relevant case has been filed according to an order issued by the Attorney General. Former Minister Mervyn Silva appeared before the courts when the case was taken up for hearing. The Criminal Investigation Department informed the courts that the further investigations are underway over the incident. Accordingly, the courts ordered to reconvene the hearing of the complaint on November 7th and instructed to inform the progress of the investigations on the same day. Today, the Court of Appeal dismissed a petition filed with the mediation of Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission, Janaka Ratnayaka. The petition was filed requesting the courts to issue an order for the removal of the detrimental recommendations made against him in the order issued by the Court of Appeal, while dismissing the petition filed to issue an order the power interruptions during the last GCA advanced level examination period. A motion has been filed requesting to conduct the hearing of the fundamental rights petition filed over the Express Pearl maritime disaster before a full Supreme Court bench. The relevant motion has been filed by the Centre for Environmental Justice. The motion has further requested to issue an order to conduct an investigation into the environmental damage caused by the Express Pearl incident. We'll be continuing with more local stories after a short break.
Kutumi, Fantamai.
Now on to more local news. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has left the country this morning for an official visit to Singapore and Japan. While in Singapore, the President will meet the Singaporean Minister of Law and Home Affairs, K. Shanmugam, along with high-ranking diplomats. The President's visit to Japan is scheduled from May 24 to 27th and will include discussions with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on strengthening bilateral relations and addressing regional and international matters. Additionally, meetings are planned with Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshima Hayashi, the Finance Minister Shunshi Suzuki, and Digital Transformation Minister Taro Kono. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will also address the Nikkei Forum on the 28th Future of Asia Conference in Tokyo on May 25th and 26th. This international conference convenes leaders to discuss political, economic and regional issues in the Asia-Pacific region. President will engage in Japan-Sri Lanka Business Cooperation Council, the Sri Lanka-Japan Parliamentary Friendship Association and the Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce in Japan. The visit aims to strengthen the cooperation and foster friendly relations between two countries. The President will also be accompanied by Professor Maitri Wickremesinghe, Senior Advisor to the President and Chief of Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, along with high-level delegation.
A protest organized by a group of refugees from various countries in Sri Lanka was held in front of the United Nations office in Colombo today. They urged the UN authorities to resolve the issues faced by them, including resettlement, education, housing and cost of living. The group has said that they have been living in Sri Lanka as refugees for more than 10 to 15 years. They have requested to make necessary arrangements to leave for another country for permanent residency. They have also claimed that their children have been deprived of education and the opportunity to engage in an employment. However, around 20 refugees took part in the protest. Subsequently, the protesters dispersed from the area after an official of the United Nations office obtained their statements in writing.
Distribution of kerosene received from China among fisheries communities was commenced today. Accordingly, the inauguration of the program was held at the fisheries harbour in Panadura. Minister Douglas Denawanda and Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Q Sheng Hong, were present on the occasion. The kerosene consignment was extended by the Chinese government to be distributed among the fisheries communities in Sri Lanka free of charge. Each fisherman is expected to receive 150 litres of kerosene. The consignment is expected to be distributed among 27,000 fisheries families. State Minister Piyal Nishantha was also present at the occasion.
Foreign Employment Bureau says migrating for foreign employments through illegal means has been increased this year compared to the previous year. The Bureau has pointed out that those who seek to migrate through legal means are often deceived by financial rackets. Minister Manusha Nanekara said that they have identified a racket which sends individuals abroad through a visit visa and return to the country with government funds. Therefore, he said that a new regulation has been imposed not to consider those who migrate without registering with the Bureau. Welfare Benefits Board says that a direct crediting system has been implemented, ensuring that beneficiaries' bank accounts are directly credited with the necessary welfare benefits effective from July.
The board has said that these measures have been taken to address the challenges faced by welfare beneficiaries in receiving their allowances. Chairman of the Welfare Benefit Board, B. Vijayaratnam, made these remarks during the 101 Kata program introduced by the President's Media Division. According to the Welfare Benefits Board, significant measures have been taken to address the challenges faced by welfare beneficiaries in receiving their allowances. Effective from July, the board has implemented direct crediting system, ensuring that the beneficiaries' bank accounts are directly credited with the necessary welfare benefits. This encompasses the correction of any previous errors in social welfare benefits and the continuation of the existing government assistance program, such as the Samruddhi and Elderly Assistance. These actions were carried out under the guidance of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He further noted that the implementation of the Aswasma Welfare Benefit Program starting in July, there is a possibility that these individuals who have been receiving benefits such as Samruddhi may lose them. They could be due to factors such as having stable income or not applying for Aswasma welfare benefits. The chairman of the Welfare Benefits Program emphasized that the individuals who believe they should be eligible for the benefits should not be included in the initials to submit their appeals. As soon as the list is available, recipients will be published.
Minister Kanaka Herath says efforts are underway to form a cybersecurity authority this year. He made these remarks during the 15th Annual National Conference on Cybersecurity 2023 in Colombo. The event was organized by the Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team. Many IT experts and professionals participated in this annual conference. It was held under the theme Protecting Critical National Information Infrastructure.
We are in the midst of an accelerated journey towards the digital transformation by converting the services offered by the government institutions from manual to digital. This will support the government's initiative on expanding the digital economy. DG Econ, a program launched by His Excellency the President to bring in all the key stakeholders together to accelerate the digitalization process, and this program will provide several benefits to the public and private sector organizations. We are planning to implement the digital economic framework by November this year. With the growth in digital presence, government organizations' dependency on digital systems will increase, and consequently, the risk of misuse of digital systems by malicious actors too will increase. The need for a safe and secure cyberspace has become more important than ever. In Sri Lanka, the reported cyber security incidents have increased significantly over the recent past. These include theft of sensitive information, financial frauds, and disruption of the day-to-day operations of government and corporate sectors. Therefore, it is necessary that all segments of society consider the protection of digital systems, digital identities, and other economic assets from various cyber threats. This becomes more important in context of our citizens being provided with unique digital identity for verification during the use of services offered by both public and private sector organizations. Sri Lanka CERT, which has the mandate to protect the nation's cyberspace, has taken a number of initiatives under the guidance of our ministry to protect our cyberspace. Among these, implementing the Information and Cybersecurity Strategy in 2019 and also in 2023, identifying the close to 40 organizations as critical national information infrastructure owners, introducing the Information and Cybersecurity Policy for Government Organizations, which was approved by the Cabinet last year. And also conducting IT risk assessment of critical information infrastructure providers are some of the key initiatives taken by SL CERT to build the cybersecurity resilience of the government organization.
Now on to foreign news. The fire that engulfed a secondary school female dormitory has killed 18 girls and a boy.
Guyana authorities revising down its earlier death toll have indicated that 13 girls and a little boy died at the dorms. 5 other students are receiving treatments in the hospital. Both police and firefighting officials say a student maliciously set the fire. At the time of the blaze, it was reported that 56 children were staying in a dorm. When firefighters arrived at the dormitory, the building was already engulfed in flames completely. Firefighters rescued around 20 students by breaking holes in the northeastern wall of the building. The Mahdia Secondary School dormitory, where the fire happened, is at the center of the Guyanese government's push to improve the education level in the less developed part of the country.
Now on to sports news. We're looking at the player auction of the 4th edition of the Lanka Premier League, which will be held on June 11th. This will be revealed during a media briefing in Colombo today.
4th edition of Lanka Premier League cricket tournament, which is scheduled to be held from 30th July to 20th August. We have had 3 very good editions, despite many challenges that confronted us, particularly during the first edition way back in 2020. We have come a long way, and we are grateful to Mr. Anil Mohan, who always supported us and stood by us despite those challenges, particularly with the pandemic and various other issues that we were confronted with. Of course, from those experiences, we are planning to enhance and have a better tournament to elevate the standards of this tournament this year. Looking forward to some good array of national, international players.
If you take last year, we played in 3 venues, but we have decided to play in 2 venues. Mainly, the window that we have received this year is slightly shorter than last year. So that was the main reason that we have decided to play in 2 venues. The teams will be the same. It's 5 teams. Jaffna Kings, Gaul Gladiators, Aura Dambulla, Kandy Falcons and Colombo Strikers. except for the first three, that's Jaffna, Gaul and Dambulla. The owners of the other two teams have changed. So Colombo has been changed as Colombo Strikers, but Kandy will remain as Kandy Falcons. The most significant change that you will see this year is that Sri Lanka Cricket along with IPG have decided to conduct a player auction as against the draft that we had during the last 3 years. People like David Miller, Matthew Wade, then Shakibul Hassan, Baba Azam, they have already signed. Already about 10 players have signed, pre-signed. It shows that, unlike last few years, the quality of this tournament will be very much more this year, for sure. Another, important message that I would like to give is, registration portal was open last 16th, and so far already about 500 plus players have registered. That's once again a very clear indication, the faith that the players, overseas players and the player managers have kept on this tournament.
After defeating their first match played in the Central Asian Women's Volleyball Championship, Sri Lanka lost against Uzbekistan 3 rounds to 0. The tournament is currently taking place in Kathmandu, Nepal. Sri Lanka Army won the men's championship of the Defence Services football tournament. They won against Sri Lanka Navy 2-1. Women's championship of the tournament was secured by Sri Lanka Navy. The finals were held yesterday at the racecourse grounds in Colombo.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.